We're talking all about something that I think keeps a lot of strata managers up at night. It's that idea of
Yeah.
switching systems, that migration process.
Right.
It's like this big, scary monster
Yeah.
lurking in the shadows, right?
Yeah.
You've got the cost, the thought of losing all that data, the disruption to your business, and then, oh my goodness, the learning curve of new software.
It's true. All of those fears are so valid, especially when you think about just how much important data is involved in strata management. I mean, we're talking about years and years of financial records, property information, sensitive client details.
Absolutely. It's a lot to handle.
The stakes are incredibly high. One wrong move during the migration, and you could be facing serious financial setbacks, legal issues, even damage to your reputation with clients.
So yeah, migration can be a little bit terrifying.
It can be.
But that's where Intellistrata comes in.
Yeah.
They're positioning themselves as more than just software. They're the solution to slay that migration monster.
Wow. I think what's really interesting about Intellistrata is that they've gone beyond just adding new features or a fancy interface. They've really thought about what makes migration so painful and designed their entire approach around making it easier and less stressful.
Okay, let's dive into the specifics.
Okay.
Starting with cost, because let's be honest, that's often the biggest monster under the bed.
Right.
Intellistrata talks about upfront pricing, no hidden costs. What does that actually mean for someone who's considering making the switch?
Well, I think the biggest thing is transparency. They understand that unexpected costs are a nightmare for strata firms, so they've completely done away with those complicated pricing structures and hidden fees.
Makes sense.
Instead, what they do is they give you tailored pricing, based on the size of your business, your specific needs, so you know exactly what you're signing up for from day one.
So no surprises, no hidden fees.
Exactly. No surprises, just clear upfront costs.
I like it. But even with transparent pricing switching systems is still a big investment. So how does Intellistrata guarantee that firms are actually going to see a return on that investment?
Their platform is designed for efficiency. They automate a lot of those manual tasks that can really eat up your team's time.
Okay, can you give us some examples of what those tasks are and how much time we're talking about saving here?
Think about all of the things that take hours upon hours: financial reconciliation, generating reports, sending out notices, managing those maintenance requests, all those little administrative tasks. Intellistrata takes a lot of that off your plate.
So you're saying firms could potentially save hours every week?
Absolutely. They estimate that you can save around 30% of your administrative time.
Wow, 30%. That's a huge amount of time.
Yeah, it can be a game changer for a lot of firms.
But do those time savings actually translate into real cost savings?
Oh, absolutely. And here's the thing. Most clients start seeing those benefits within the first 3 months of using Intellistrata.
That's a pretty quick turnaround.
It is.
Okay, so we've tackled the cost monster, but what about data loss? That's a big one. I mean, we're talking about years of crucial information, client data. What happens if something goes wrong during the transfer?
Well, that's where Intellistrata's focus on security really shines. They understand just how vital that data is to your business, and they've created a system that ensures a smooth and secure transfer.
Okay, but how do they actually do that? It's one thing to say secure data transfer, but what's happening behind the scenes?
Well, first off, they have an in-house IT team that specializes in this kind of migration. These are experts who handle every step of the process, minimizing the chance of human error.
Okay, that's reassuring.
Plus, they follow all the Australian data privacy regulations, so you can be confident that your client's information is protected throughout the entire process.
That's a big relief.
It is.
But is there any way for firms to, test the waters before taking that big leap of faith?
That's a great question. And, it's completely natural to want some reassurance before making such a significant change. So that's why they offer something called a sandbox testing environment.
Sandbox.
Yeah, it's essentially a safe space where you can do a trial run of that data migration. You can see how everything's going to look and function in the new system, but without any risk to your live data.
So it's like a dress rehearsal for your data.
Exactly. It's a chance to iron out any wrinkles and address any concerns before you go live with the new system.
That takes a lot of the fear out of the equation.
It does. It does. Welcome back to our deep dive on conquering those strata migration headaches and how Intellistrata can make it a whole lot easier.
In the last part, we focused on cost and data loss, two of the biggest fears that come with migration.
Right.
But what happens to those firms that, decide to go it alone and try to tackle this beast without a partner like Intellistrata?
Well, to put it simply, they often end up facing those exact fears they were trying to avoid.
Okay, but how come, what are the specific problems they run into?
Well, I think the biggest mistake is underestimating just how complicated this process can be.
Yeah, it's more than just moving files from one place to another, right?
Exactly. It's about so much more than that. You have to think about mapping out all your workflows, making sure your data is clean and accurate, configuring that new system, training your entire team in all of this while still keeping your business running without major disruptions.
Yeah, it sounds like a logistical nightmare, especially for firms that, maybe don't have a ton of IT support.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Even with a dedicated IT team, they might not have the specific expertise needed for Strata migration. It really is a unique animal with its own set of challenges.
So what are the consequences of messing this up?
Hmm.
What's the worst case scenario for a firm that tries to do this on their own?
The worst case scenario, well, it's not pretty. You're talking about things like extended downtime, which means lost productivity, frustrated clients. You could even end up with corrupted data or worse, data loss, which leads to compliance issues, legal disputes, and of course, damage to your reputation. And even if you manage to get through the technical side of things, if your team isn't properly trained on that new system, you're just setting yourself up for inefficiencies, errors, and a whole lot of frustration.
So basically, it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so how does Intellistrata help firms avoid this migration nightmare?
Their whole approach is about partnership and guidance. They have a really well-defined methodology for walking firms through every single step of the migration journey, from that initial assessment all the way to go live support. And their in-house IT team basically acts as an extension of your own team, providing that expert advice and hands-on help throughout the entire process.
Okay, so it's not just handing over some software and saying, good luck, figure it out.
Nope, not at all. It's a true partnership.
But can you give us a little more detail about what that partnership looks like? What are some of the steps that Intellistrata takes to ensure a smooth transition?
Sure. So the first step is really understanding your current setup.
Hmm.
They work with you to really get a handle on your systems, your workflows, your pain points, your goals, and then they create a migration plan that's specifically designed for you.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Not at all. It's all about customization. And because they've done this so many times, they have that expertise, they can anticipate potential problems and put plans in place to avoid them before they even happen.
That's pretty impressive.
And throughout the entire process, you have that direct line of communication with their team. So if you have questions, if you run into any roadblocks, they're there to help you every step of the way.
So they really hold your hand through the whole thing.
Yeah, they do. And that's important because it can feel overwhelming.
Okay, so we've talked about the technical side of things, but what about the human element? How does Intellistrata make sure that everyone on the team is ready and comfortable using that new system?
Well, training is a huge part of their process. And again, it's customized to your team's specific needs. They want to make sure that everyone feels confident and comfortable using that new system.
Right, because you can have the best software in the world, but if people don't know how to use it, it's not going to be very helpful.
Exactly. And the training doesn't just stop after the initial rollout. They provide ongoing support and resources so your team can continue learning and growing as they become more familiar with the platform.
So it's like they're invested in your success long term.
Absolutely. They don't just want to sell you software. They want to partner with you and help your firm thrive.
Okay, let's shift gears a little bit. We've talked about the migration process itself, but let's talk about Intellistrata's platform. What are some of the things that make it such a great fit for Strata management firms?
Well, their platform is designed to make your life easier. It's all about streamlining those Strata workflows and getting rid of all those time-consuming manual tasks that you're probably used to.
Okay, but how do they actually do that? I mean, what are we talking about here?
Think about all of the things that you do on a daily basis, financial management, communicating with owners and tenants, scheduling meetings, managing maintenance requests. The list goes on and on.
Oh, yeah, I know that list.
And Intellistrata automates a lot of those processes so you can focus on the things that really matter.
So instead of spending hours reconciling accounts or sending out individual notices, you can do that with a couple of clicks.
Exactly. And what's really cool is that their automation goes beyond just your internal processes. They also have features that improve communication with owners and tenants. Things like automated email reminders for upcoming fees, online portals for submitting those maintenance requests. They even have integrated voting systems for AGMs.
That sounds amazing, especially for Strata managers who are drowning in paperwork and emails.
It's a big time saver.
But all this automation is great. But what about usability? Is the platform actually easy to use, or do you need to be a tech expert to figure it out?
One of the things they've done really well is focus on usability. They understand that not everyone in your team is a tech whiz. So they've designed the platform to be really intuitive and easy to navigate.
So it's not one of those systems where you need a manual just to find the on button.
No, not at all. It's very user-friendly, and of course, they also offer those customized training programs we talked about so everyone can get up to speed quickly.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've been talking about the ups and downs of strata migration and how Intellistrata helps firms navigate those choppy waters.
Right.
But, let's get practical here. How does a strata firm decide if Intellistrata is actually the right fit for them?
Right, that's the million-dollar question, and there's no easy answer. It really comes down to looking at your current situation, your needs, your goals, and figuring out if Intellistrata aligns with where you want to be.
So where do you even begin? I mean, it's a big decision.
Yeah. I think the best place to start is to really pinpoint those pain points in your existing system. What's causing the most frustration? Is it all the manual work, the struggle to stay compliant, or maybe the lack of communication that's driving your owners crazy?
It's like cleaning out your closet before you move.
Mm.
Got to get rid of the clutter before you pack everything up.
Exactly. Once you know what those problem areas are, you can see if Intellistrata offers a solution.
Okay, so let's say a firm has identified some areas where Intellistrata could help. What's next? Do they just jump in head first?
Not quite. Remember that free trial we talked about? That's your chance to really get a feel for the platform. See if it's a good match and explore those features that could address your specific needs.
It's like trying on a pair of shoes before you buy them. Got to make sure they fit right.
Exactly. And you're not just left to figure things out on your own during the trial. You can schedule a personalized demo with the Intellistrata team. They'll walk you through everything, answer your questions, and really tailor the experience to your specific workflows.
So it's a collaborative process, not just a solo test drive.
Exactly. Intellistrata is all about building partnerships. They want to understand your unique challenges and show you how they can help.
All right, so let's say a firm has gone through the trial. They've had those conversations with Intellistrata, and they're ready to take the plunge. What happens then?
Well, Intellistrata doesn't just leave you hanging. They work closely with you to develop a comprehensive migration plan that outlines every step of the process.
So it's a step-by-step roadmap to guide them through the transition.
Precisely. And it's not just a generic template. They tailor that plan to your specific needs, your timelines to minimize disruptions and ensure a smooth transition.
Makes sense. But even with a detailed plan, it's still a big undertaking. What can firms do to make sure everything goes smoothly and that everyone is on board with the new system?
Communication is key. Keep your team informed about the progress, address any concerns they might have, and highlight the benefits they can expect. Change can be unsettling, so that clear, consistent communication really helps.
It's like steering a ship. The captain needs to keep the crew informed and reassured throughout the journey.
Exactly. And don't forget about your owners. They're part of the journey, too. Keep them updated about the new system, the benefits they'll see, and make sure they have the resources they need to use it effectively.
So good communication, a solid plan, and a supportive partner like Intellistrata. Those are the key ingredients for a successful migration.
Absolutely. It's a journey that requires planning and collaboration, but with the right approach and the right partner, it can be a smooth and even rewarding experience.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today. We've explored the challenges of strata migration, solutions offered by Intellistrata, and the steps involved in making that switch.
We have, and hopefully we've shed some light on the process.
I think the biggest takeaway is that migration doesn't have to be a scary monster lurking in the shadows.
Right.
With a partner like Intellistrata, well-defined plan, and open communication, it can actually be a positive experience that sets your firm up for success.
Definitely.
So for any strata firms out there who are feeling bogged down by their current systems, those firms that are yearning for a more efficient and enjoyable way to work, I encourage you to take a closer look at Intellistrata.
Yeah, it could be the key to unlocking your firm's full potential.
And with that, we've reached the end of our deep dive. We hope you found it informative and helpful. Remember, knowledge is power. And when it comes to your business, informed decisions are the best decisions.
Until next time, happy straighting.
Happy straighting, everyone.